does no how important, or how much importance do you give to mental health?
Mm, I think that it's very important. um, Maybe I didn't think much about this when I was young, but now that I have a adult life,
Yes.
I I understood all the problem that my
Parents.
parents had in mind.
Yes, the influence on your behavior and decision making, and lots of stuff that we decide today, no?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That happens. Yes, that happens. That's why it has been a trend to take care of mental health nowadays, because many people realize that attending their mental issues can give them a better life, uh, better um, better like way, or easier ways to happiness, and many other stuff. So it's pretty useful. Mhm. Have you ever been to therapy?
Yes, many times in my life. In and now we are taking therapy with my son,
Oh, cool! Wow.
all the family, because isn't it isn't easier, yes, it's correct, to be fathers,
Yes.
to be parents or
Well,
father.
it will be father is masculine.
Okay.
If you want to be not like neutralize the gender, you would say um, to be a parent.
To be a parent. Mhm.
Correct. Correct. Talk about like general, like referring to your husband and you.
Mhm.
And I agree. Yes, of course, it's a hard task. It's something that many people in my generation avoid, you know. And I think it's today we are afraid of being parents, when actually it's we are there is an experience that we can live, you know.
Uh, um, I heard that it's difficult for the generations now because the acquisitive power,
Yeah, correct.
the decreased,
Decrease,
no,
decrease.
decrease 300%.
Yes,
Mhm.
correct.
So if it's difficult for you pay for your bills, if you have
Yes,
sons or daughters, it's more
it's
difficult.
even more.
Yes.
It's even harder difficulty, and it's something that many people are worried about. And I mean, even when that can be a problem. I have many family members that have their children, and they're having a nice experience, and it really makes me reevaluate the the fear. You know, there are many people having kids, and I see them and I'm like, wow, that looks wonderful, you know.
Mhm. Sometimes,
Sometimes.
yes, it's is sometimes you think what was the reason that I choose this way,
I imagine.
but then you see the little people and this, I understand.
Yes, correct. I think that that question of why am I'm doing this, you know, it happens with everything. It happens with everything. You
Oh,
go
yeah. Mhm.
to the gym and you're like, dude, what am I doing here? You know, like I should be doing another thing. Eh,
Or the career that you choose,
aha, correct.
everything.
Your
Or
career, your
what you say something to other.
exactly, exactly. Why did I say that? No, and are always yes, yes, yes. Every single decision we take, small or massive, it's a question, an
Yeah.
existential crisis if you overthink. So we shouldn't worry about it. That's life, and that's it. That's the important thing about mental health. That you can know all these issues and you can eliminate all those worries by
Mhm,
learning about yourself and everything.
mhm,
You know? So
mhm.
the topic that we are precisely the reason I'm talking about that is because the video that we're gonna watch is mental health. And there is something special, not talking about therapy and traumas. It's more about uh, self-diagnosis. Let's understand this concept. By the way, a little parenthesis. I haven't finished the exams. So when I'm done with them, we are going to have a conversation about the exams. Okay. So in this moment, don't worry, relax about yesterday's issues. Let's have a little conversation about the new video. And when we are done, we're going to have a feedback session. Okay. But meanwhile, let's relax. Let's relax a little bit. Let's speak some English and let's understand this concept that I want to show you. The pronunciation of the word that I want you to see is, where's the dictionary? Self-diagnosis. Well, self-analysis, diagnosis.
Diagnosis.
Okay. The word diagnosis is the act of discovering or identifying the exact cause of an illness or a problem, which is usually or it should be done by an expert, right? The issue with having so common, uh, so commonly known the symptoms of bad health problem, everybody becomes an expert suddenly, and it's very easy to do a self-diagnosis, right? Like Googling your problems and then discovering that you have, well, I don't know, a very bad illness, and you will say, "Oh, I need to go to the hospital," and really, it's just an infection, you know. But of course, we cannot know. We have no idea because we are not experts. In mental health, it's very easy to have self-diagnosis. Have you ever heard of this topic? Let's talk about, for example, Carlita. When do you when do you think it's necessary to go to the doctor? When do you decide to go to the doctor when you have a problem?
Um, I think the properly way is all times that you have some symptom, no? But
What?
really, but one days the all or the most of the cases the people
Most of
search
that. You are
most
repeating that.
most of what teacher?
You repeated that. It's only one that.
Most of cases?
Of the cases.
Most of the cases.
Mhm.
Okay, most of the cases, the first uh, thing that people do is search in Google what is the meaning of the symptoms. And if consider is necessary, go to the doctor. I think it's when decide to do an analysis or receive a diagnosis. Diagnosis.
Diagnosis. We're reading is
Di- diagnosis. Diagnosis.
Exactly. Diagnosis.
Diagnosis.
Yes.
Okay, diagnosis. In my particular case, I when it's a common illness, like a cold or headache, more or less, headache, sorry, I can go to the doctor because it's not common for me. But if I feel another symptom, I prefer go to check. But also I have with a benefit with my work, I have a checkup per year, so it's a
Nice.
Yes, it's a common that I receive constantly.
Okay.
They know, I know, they know, they diagnosis.
Exactly.
Mhm,
That's good, eh? That's very nice. Yeah, like to go once a year is really useful.
mhm,
I think it's important to have that. Even to do analysis, like blood analysis, once in a while. It's important to check your sugar levels, which is because we are exposed to sugar and fats. So it's
mhm.
important to keep that track because one of the most common cases in Mexico is diabetes and syndrome. What's the name of this? Uh, fat blood, uh,
Yeah.
which is
Hipertenso, ¿no?
hypertension.
Hypertension. Okay.
Hypertension.
Okay. Hypertension.
Exactly, hypertension.
Mhm,
Very, very commonly known because our food is based on fats and sugars. So it's pretty
mhm,
easy to get this type of illnesses. So keeping track of that is interesting, important. Okay,
mhm.
so that's the part of diagnosis. Now, let's talk about a very common diagnosis, talking about the world of mental health, which is this one. For that, I will need Jesse to pronounce it. 1, 2, 3, action.
ADHD.
Correct. ADHD.
ADHD.
Jesus,
ADHD.
that's it. Which is technically the letters that you read here, right? ADHD. This is an acronym to talk about the attention deficit disorder. AD, and I don't know where's the other A. I know it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The H, Jesus Christ, my mouse is dying. The H stands for hyperactivity, and this can be removed or not. This is one of the most common health issues that have been like in recent diagnosis. That's a word. In recent diagnosis, the number of diagnoses of ADHD recently have spiked up, which makes us the question makes us raise the question: is it real? Like everybody has attention deficit disorder? Have we ever heard about that? Do you know if you have it? Let's start with Jesse. Have you ever made ADHD test?
About this disorder?
Mhm.
I?
Yeah.
Me?
Mhm.
Not really.
Not really.
No. Can you repeat the question, teacher?
Yes. Have you ever done an ADHD test?
No, teacher.
Okay.
I didn't.
Why not?
I am not sure, but I imagine that when I am a child, when I was a child, I was um I don't know how to say um I I have a good behavior and just maybe relax and focus on the school and see just
Did you always have good notes?
yes when I was in the elementary school
Wow.
I had a good
Good notes, exactly. So definitely that was not a trigger. And of course, as Elsie was saying before you arrived, it was something that we never really cared about when our parents were younger. Even like everybody here, I can talk about like in general, our parents of the people in the class were not really worried about mental health, right? So because this has been a real recent thing that has been happening. So recently, have you ever had or noticed people around you being very distracted or things like that? Or has a friend told you about it?
a friend I didn't meet or know about other people.
Okay.
Mm, I don't know. I am not sure, but I have a coworker.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I am not sure, but this person is really hyperactive.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
Hyperactive.
hyperactive. Sorry, hyperactive.
Hyperactive.
And yes, it's correct.
Mm-hmm.
He is hyperactive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sorry. He usually have a lot of energy. He
Watch out.
has a lot of energy, but I am not sure. I think it's other things. But
Exactly, because this is exactly where it becomes like we start diagnosing without knowing, no? It's like, this person has ADHD, you know? And it's like, well, how do you know? No?
yes, but I think it's other thing because he usually drinks this this I don't know drinks
Energy
like
drinks.
drinks like bolts and
Mhm.
yes when
Red
you
Bull.
need energy for the day. Mhm.
They are called energy drinks.
Yes, maybe for this reason he usually have a lot of energy.
Has.
Has a lot of energy. A lot of
I agree. I agree. This is which is coming back to Carlos's speech. We are talking about health, and yes, we can actually confuse attention deficit hyperactivity or hyperactivity disorder with drinking too much sugar. No, so
yes.
technically, it is something that we cannot know. Well, this is the topic of the video. The reason we are talking about this is because the video that we are going to talk about triggers a question that many people in this generation and past generations know or are trying to figure out because precisely it's too common to talk about ADHD today. The question here is, do I have ADHD? Which is actually a question that I personally have had in my own life. You know, do I have ADHD? Why I cannot sit down and read a book? You know, why I cannot stand like 2 pages without opening my cell phone. Probably it's not me, probably it's the addiction to cell phone, you know? So let's watch the video together and let's check how much you can understand. Okay? 1, 2, 3, action.
The video doesn't have audio.
Yes.
There we go. I'm sorry, I was sticking it to myself. There we go. 1, 2, 3, action.
Okay, so there's this question that I've been asking myself a lot lately. I'm constantly distracted. Wait. I wasn't listening. My room is a mess. I cleaned this yesterday. And I keep forgetting my keys everywhere. Do I have ADHD? And it seems like a lot of people on the internet are asking the exact same question. But the thing is, diagnosis can be a bit tricky. And the ADHD community is divided into 2 sides. People who think ADHD is being overdiagnosed, and the people that think it's being underdiagnosed. A key criteria for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is that it shows up at a very early period of life. And that's according to the DSM, a manual published by the American Psychiatric Association. It's essentially a huge guide with standardized criteria that doctors use to diagnose mental disorders. And according to the latest edition, there are 5 big things that need to be checked off to determine if someone has ADHD. First, you need to show persistent patterns of at least 6 symptoms from at least one of 2 categories. And these symptoms had to exist before the age of 12, be present in 2 or more different settings, interfere with your social, academic, or professional abilities, and not be, quote, better explained by another mental disorder. If you do meet these criteria, the good news is that ADHD medications are super effective. You might be familiar with Ritalin. It was introduced back in 1955, and since then, more pharmaceutical companies developed new types of ADHD medication. Today, about 75% of ADHD patients respond to one of 2 types of stimulants. Methylphenidate, which is in brands like Ritalin and Concerta, and amphetamine, which is found in Adderall. But not everyone thinks this boom in drugs is a positive thing.
First of all, it's weird that a diagnosis that used to be applied to about 3% of the population to 15%. An enormous increase in the diagnosis.
This is Dr. Alan Francis, and he believes that ADHD is being overdiagnosed.
This is coincident to the drug companies coming out with new and very expensive products that gave them both the method and the means to aggressively market ADHD as a disorder, selling the ill in order to sell their pills.
According to a number of studies done in the US, Taiwan, Iceland, and Canada, the youngest kid in the classroom was way more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD than the oldest kid.
What this means is that immaturity is being turned into a mental disorder and being treated with a pill.
In 2013, the DSM's criteria broadened to include children who had symptoms by age 12, where previously it required symptoms before the age 7. This looser criteria could possibly increase the risk of more children being misdiagnosed for ADHD and put on drugs. And all drugs have side effects, even the effective ones. Studies have found that ADHD medications increase heart rate and blood pressure. Other side effects include strokes, depression, addiction. In rare cases, misdiagnosis can mean treating the wrong problem altogether.
If you make a misdiagnosis of ADHD in an adult who has bipolar disorder and give him stimulants, he'll become much worse.
On the other hand,
there is a pattern in psychiatry. If you go back to schizophrenia 60 years ago, people used to say that schizophrenia wasn't a psychiatric disorder. It was a choice of lifestyle. We don't have that conversation. 30 years ago, the same argument was applied to depression. depression. We don't have that discussion. And in 20 or 30 years from now, we will no longer be having this discussion about ADHD.
This is Dr. David Goodman, and he thinks ADHD is being underdiagnosed.
In one survey, they found that 4.5% of adults in the United States likely have ADHD. But what's really striking are two important facts. One was that 75% of the adults presumed to have ADHD had never been diagnosed. And of those with ADHD, 45% were receiving mental health treatment, but not for ADHD.
And this is a big problem, especially for women. Women are generally harder to diagnose because while hyperactivity is more common in men and boys, inattentiveness is more common for women and girls. Boys are twice as likely to be diagnosed with ADHD as girls are, but many argue that it's not necessarily because it's more common in boys. According to psychologist Ellen Lippman, studies of ADHD were based mostly on hyperactive young boys, leading to a distorted understanding of the disorder. Dr. Goodman also argues that media portrayals of ADHD can add to a stigma that keeps people from seeking treatment.
Hi there! What's your name? My name's Abernathy Darwin Dunlap, but you can call me ADD on account of the fact that I have ADD, which...
You were just like the worst student in the world, weren't you? They said I had AD... something. Can we have class outside?
An extensive study has shown that ADHD patients who get treatment have much more beneficial academic and social outcomes in the long run than those who don't. So the real problem here isn't really whether there are too many or too few people diagnosed with ADHD. It's are the right people getting the right treatment. And that's something that you're not going to find on the internet.
So interesting. Let's start our round of opinions. Elsie, what did you understand on the video and what's your opinion on it? 1, 2, 3. Just a second. I'm trying to find the book of corrections. 1, 2, 3, action.
I remember that there are two parties. The people that think that ADHD is over diagnosis,
Nice.
and the other that think that the ADHD is under diagnosis.
Mhm.
And what else? Many people ask themselves if this disorder can be diagnosed in Google, something like that. And there are arguments about no. Oh, sorry.
And reformulate your sentence.
Yes. I heard that this disorder is diagnosed in childhood.
Mhm.
Childhood. And that there are many drugs that can help you.
Mhm.
And that many of these drugs cause other problems, like secondary effects, like obesity, high, I don't remember the words, high rate. No, when your high blood pressure
Excellent.
and depression, addictions, and things like that.
Mhm.
Yes, I remember that. And I in the site, on the site
Mhm.
that thing that this disorder is over diagnostic.
Mhm. Why?
Um, um, uh, I heard that when you are a child, your brain isn't development until when you have 18 years, something like that. So if you receive drugs, you this mean no. You I forget the word. You say
Oh,
it.
I'm trying to remember.
Um,
Actually, you said it before.
but it's not the hold on. It's not that. I was looking for another word.
Okay.
You take the opportunity to for your brain
Mm-hmm.
to develop it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, I understand. Very interesting. What? Come on. Say it. What is in your mind?
My mind is a disaster. Sorry.
It's not probably it's ADHD. Yeah. No, that's okay. Perfect. Good job. It's about remembering some words, but suffixes and prefixes. We're gonna talk about that because some words that are supposed to be adjectives, you said it as nouns and verbs. So the last syllable we have to check. You know, we need to make you normalize the pronunciation of suffixes so you identify when you are using the incorrect word. But overall, I understand. And you remember some interesting words. High blood pressure, that was interesting. Mhm. So good. Okay, I'm gonna give you feedback of this tomorrow. Let's talk about Carlita. Carlita, what did you understand on the video and what's your opinion?
I catch little points. The first one is 3.5% of the population was that diagnostic with ADHD. And in the recently years is increasing considerably. This percentage, because in my opinion, I think it's because currently there are more studies that help us to identify this, that in the past. The other point that is interesting for me, it's more common in boys than girls or women, and it's more complicated to diagnostic in them, specifically in girls, because I understand that it's confused with another illness. But I am not sure. At this point, I am not sure I catch very well. The second point was that a lot of people during their life didn't have a study to confirm if they have a ADHD. So it's the other reason that it's impossible to have a good diagnostic. And also, like Elsie comment us, the treatment of have contained secondary effects, mainly addictions, no, for some people, specifically in old people, not child or like this. But for this, I guess it's better to have a study in your childhood in order to avoid to arrive to an addiction or to become to be an addicted person. But the other things that affect it's also your relations, the work productivity, and other topics around your life. No, in my opinion, I think it's more common to catch this this illness. However, there are a lot of information in internet that is not isn't good to use this information to have a good diagnostic. No, a lot of people take a medicine with an incorrect diagnostic. That is also the problem, no, to create an addiction or another, because you don't have correct diagnostic. And that's all, teacher, I think.
Okay, similar thing. We need to check and get you used to analyze the suffixes, so you can understand if you are using the word that you need, because there are words that sound similar to others, and we are using a different word. But good. We have some important feedback in this one. Let's go with yes. Yes, what did you understand on the video, and what's your opinion?
Yes, I understand that the doctors, okay, no doctors, maybe psychologists or I am not sure about the pronunciation. Not really. I am not sure.
Even when you are not sure, say it.
I imagine it's something like I am not sure. The doctors with the doctors that work with medicine and psychology.
Okay.
Yes. They use the DSM, and this book is for diagnostic disorder. In this case, how do you ADHD, and I am not sure, but before you only need five or just 5 criteria to to diagnostic
Mhm.
this disorder. And with the pass of the time, the doctor said you need to have more than 5 criteria to diagnostic. Yes. Okay, similar to Carla, it's curious, like how the boys had been diagnostic
Mhm.
more than the girls.
Mhm.
I try to imagine how or why, sorry. And I think it's for something social, because the women, we are more how to say, I don't know how to say, we are relaxed. We don't talk like the boys. And for example, the boys, when they are children, their play is so rude, and I think that's the reason it's more common in boys or in men than in the girls.
Mhm.
And that's all.
That's all. What's your opinion?
I am not sure.
Mhm.
I am not sure.
Oh.
I think
Mhm.
that there are a lot of people that have problems with a memory, or with eyesight, with if hyperactive, like my friend, but
Mhm.
not it's extremely
Mhm.
to diagnostic with this disorder.
Mhm.
But and that's maybe the problem, or not the solution, but it's more difficult to identify in children, because they used to play, used to scream, used to move a lot of, and it's difficult. You don't know if it's for this period of the life, or they really have a disorder.
Mhm.
And in the other side, for example, in the other hand, sorry, the parents, maybe when the parents don't have the control on their son, other people, like obviously the teacher, I don't know, they notice, I don't know how to say, entre comillas.
Okay, that's a new vocabulary, between quotations.
In quotations,
Mhm.
they in quotations,
Mhm.
they realize in quotation
Mhm.
to other things that maybe the parents know. And I think it's so difficult.
Mhm.
So difficult, in principle, because this disorder diagnostic in the childhood.
Mhm.
And that's all.
Perfect. I have very good material here. Very, very good material. Okay, very good, girls. Now let's give a moment to Jessie, because Jessie is in the chat. Okay, attention, girl. Hello, Jess. Good night.
Hello, teacher. Good night. Good night, girls. I will the attendance, please. Is here. Jessie. Hi, Jessie. Good night.
Hi, good night.